For years I looked into the mirror only to criticize what I saw there, recalling the endless hours I spent plucking my eyebrows trying to make myself very acceptable amuses me now. I remember it used to frighten me to look into my own eyes. This simple exercise shows me so much. In less than an hour, I am able to get to some of the core reasons that are beneath the other problem. If you work only on the level of the problem, we can spend endless time working out each and every detail, and the minute we think we have it all fixed up, it will crop up somewhere else. The problem is really the real problem. She was so concerned with her looks, and especially with her teeth. She went from dentist to dentist, feeling each one had only made her look worse. She went to have her nose fixed, and they did a poor job. Each professional was mirroring her belief that she was ugly. Her problem was not her looks, but that she was convinced something was wrong with her. There was another woman who had terrible breath. It was uncomfortable to be around her. She was studying to be a minister, and her outer demeanor was pious and spiritual. Beneath this was a raging current of anger and jealousy that exploded now and then when she thought someone might be threatening her position. Her inner thoughts were expressed through her breath, and she was offensive, even when she pretended to be loving. No one threatened her but herself. He was only 15 when his mother brought him to me with Hodgkin's disease and 3 months to live. His mother was understandably hysterical and difficult to deal with, but the boy was bright and clever and wanted to live. He was willing to do anything I told him to, including changing the way he thought and spoke. His separated parents were always arguing, and he really did not have a settled home life. He wanted desperately to be an actor. The pursuit of fame, the fortune far outweighed his ability to experience joy. He thought he could be acceptable worldwide only if he had fame. I told him to love and accept himself, and he got well. He is now grown up and appears on Broadway with regularity. As he learned to experience the joy of being himself, the parts in place opened up for him. Weight is another good example of how we can waste a lot of energy trying to correct a problem that is not the real problem. People often spend years and years fighting fat and are still overweight. They blame all their problems on being overweight. The excess weight is only an outer effect of a deep inner problem. To me, it is always fear and a need for protection. When we feel frightened, or insecure, or not good enough, many of us will put on extra weight for protection. To spend our time berating ourselves for being too heavy. To feel guilty about every bite of food we eat. To do all the numbers we do on ourselves when we gain weight. It's just a waste of time. 20 years later, we can still be in the same situation because we have not begun to deal with the real problem. All that we have done is to make ourselves more frightened and insecure, and then we need more weight for protection. So I refuse to focus on excess weight or on diets, for diets do not work. The only diet that does work is a mental diet. Dieting for negative thoughts. I say to clients, let us just put that issue to one side for the time being while we work on a few other things first. They will often tell me they can't love themselves because they are so fat, or as one girl put it, to run at the edges, explain that they are fat because they don't love themselves. When we begin to love and approve ourselves, it's amazing how weight just disappears from our bodies. Sometimes clients even get angry with me as I explain how simple it is to change their lives. They may feel I do not understand their problems. One woman became very upset and said, "I came here to get help with my dissertation, not to learn to love myself." To me it was so obvious that her main problem was a lot of self-hatred, and this permeated every part of her life, including the writing of her dissertation. She could not succeed at anything as long as she felt so worthless. She couldn't hear me and left in tears. Coming back 1 year later with the same problem, plus a lot of other problems. Some people are not ready. There is no judgment. We all begin to make our changes in the right time, space and sequence for us. I did not even begin to make my changes until I was in my 40s. The real problem. So here is a client who has just looked into the harmless little mirror, and he or she is upset. I smile with delight and say, "Good, now we are looking at the real problem. Now we can begin to clear out what is really standing in our way." I talk more about loving the self, about how, for me, loving self begins with never ever criticizing yourself for anything. I watch their faces as I ask if they criticize themselves. Their reactions tell me so much. Well, of course I do, all the time, not as much as I used to. Well, how am I going to change if I don't criticize myself? 2021. To the latter, I answer, we are not talking about everyone. We are talking about you. Why do you criticize yourself? What is wrong with you? As they talk, I make a list. What they say often coincides with the should list. They feel they are too tall, too short, too fat, too thin, too dumb, too old, too young, too ugly. The most beautiful or handsome will often say this. Or they too late, too early, too lazy, and on and on and on. Notice how it is almost always to something. Finally, we get down to the bottom line, and they say, "I am not good enough." Ora, ora. We have finally found the central issue. They criticize themselves because they have learned to believe they are not good enough. Clients are always amazed at how fast we can get on to the point. Now we do not have to bother with any of the side effects like body problems, relationship problems, money problems, lack of creative expressions. We can put all our energy into solving the chaos of the whole thing, not loving the self. In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole and complete. I am always divinely protected and guided. It is safe for me to look within myself. It is safe for me to look into the past. It is safe for me to enlarge my viewpoint of life. I am far more than my personality, past, present, or future. I now choose to rise above my personality problems, to recognize the magnificence of my being, and to die willing to learn to love myself. All is well in my world.